I did physio, and then in '87 I moved to Sydney to study physiotherapy. So then I finished in 1990 and then finished my Masters in 1998. In 1992 I set up Sydney Sports Medicine Centre out at Homebush at Sydney Olympic Park, it's called these days, and I left there in 2004. I then worked through the 1990s. I worked all Olympic sports, predominantly track and field, gymnastics and softball, and travelled internationally and domestically. While we're doing this workshop, look, we want to teach you some skills that will help you as individuals, but then also help the people you work with. So part of it is you can then use these things on yourself to understand what works, what doesn't, because some of it will appeal to you and some of it will not. So pick out the bits that you think work for you. Look, and we all run. And you'll see people, I'll say people, you watch people run and they run beautifully, and you watch some people run and think, oh wow, they shouldn't run. Which person are you? But we all do it. We all run, but some look great, some just look, wow, what's going on there? So I can sense there's a few of those people here. But the key is, we can't question your enthusiasm, but the challenge for all of us is when to push and when not to push. There's two mistakes. People push when you shouldn't, and people don't push hard enough when you should. So it is those two things that you sort of need to sort out. As a physio, we're always pushing to the limit, but there's times where I've got to say to you, don't. Or you give alternate things. Because part of it is you've got to give them stuff to do, otherwise it'll just go bonkers. So you've got to make sure that you give them some alternate activities. And what are some alternatives to running if someone can't run? So you've got a stretchy, what do you do?
Maybe cross-trainer.
Yeah, elliptical's good. Water running's good. Bike. I don't like bike. I don't like bike because you've got to put weight through your feet. So that's why I like people on elliptical or orbital, because you're upright. Bike's nice because it gets, but it's not getting into the rhythm of running. If you want to row, sit on a bike, meaning if you want to sit on your bum. So I don't like people who sit at a desk all day, 60 hours a week. Okay, now I'm going to do bottom sitting exercise. Look, I think you've got to think of your body as like a car, which means what? Yes, we look after our cars, do we look after ourselves? So what's the example of a daily service for your car?
Fuel.
Fuel, which can be what? Food. Water. Yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Mainly just to get around the idea that you've got to spend money on it.
Yeah.
And
And you don't necessarily need to spend money on equipment.
no,
So I don't need to get the new mags, but how about I just service the engine? So, what might you do monthly to look after your car, look after you? Massage. Go away for a weekend. Go freshen up, spark up, go somewhere nice, do something nice. And yearly we do the holiday thing. So, and also cars like to be driven or not driven. Yeah, they like to be worked. They're an engine. You and me are an engine. Same thing. Likes to be worked. Doesn't like to be flogged. It doesn't like to be left in the garage and not driven for 6 months. And that is one of the biggest issues with running. People who stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. You'll never get any better, I'm sorry. So you've either got to bite the bullet and have a period where, what do I need to do in order to run consistently? Running once a week, and it's like the guys who play squash once a week, doesn't make you fit. It predisposes you to injury in effect because you're not getting a constant stimulus. You're only getting that stimulus once a week. Most people I like to run 2 or 3 times a week. I don't like people smashing on the road 6 times a week, but there are people who do it. People will fail at high intensity, high volume. You don't need to do repeated speed efforts if you're going to run a marathon. Sure, you can do some tempo running. So, where you might have to surge in a marathon, train them that way, but don't do 200s, 400s. They just fail. Particularly, I'm talking not the young kids, I'm talking the 30 plus. I've got the 40 and I want to run a marathon. Our advice is normally, what you want to do is get to 75% of that race distance. If you get to 75% of that race distance, you'll be okay on the day. Because you know what you want to do, you want them to complete the distance. Often it is training errors that cause you not to get to the event. You didn't get to the event?
No, it was last weekend.
Okay. So it's often, we always say to people, in your 6-month lead up, the furthest you need to run is 75% of that maximum distance. So if it's 10k, just run 7.5s. Because the key for you and I is to keep people active, to keep them running. You know what? They will go on shock, meaning I'll go from you to you to you, because you stuffed them up, then I'll go see someone else.